Here's what nobody tells you. The harder you chase success, the further you get from it. This sounds backwards, right? We're taught that ambition is the answer, that if you want something, you fight for it, you network, you strategize, you force the outcome. But there's a growing number of people, successful people, talented people, driven people, who are saying something radical. That's actually blocking you from your real purpose. They're describing something that changes everything. It's not about working less hard. It's not about being lazy or uncommitted. It's about recognizing 7 specific signs that separate people who are chasing their own ambition from people who've discovered something infinitely bigger. And the scary part? You might be on the wrong path and not even know it. If you've ever felt that quiet voice telling you something needs to change, you need to stick around for this, because there are 7 unmistakable signs that tell you whether you're following your ambition or something infinitely larger. But before we jump in, if you've been searching for your real purpose, smash that like button and subscribe, because this video could literally change the direction of your entire life. Let's go. 1. A peace that doesn't make logical sense. You can feel it physically. A release in your chest, a lightness in your shoulders. This isn't the adrenaline rush of chasing something you want. It's quieter, deeper. Even when the path requires sacrifice, even when it looks foolish to everyone watching, there's a steadiness beneath it. Sarah's parents asked the obvious question, but won't you miss the money, the status? She did miss aspects of it, but the money had never quieted the voice inside that whispered, "Is this it? Is this all?" Now, making half what she used to earn, she woke up without that voice. The anxiety that had been her constant companion, that drove her through law school, through countless 80-hour work weeks, through relationships that never quite stuck, finally released its grip. This peace is distinct because it exists despite the circumstances, not because of them. Your old path promised peace through achievement. God's path offers it through alignment. 2. Doors open without your force. Marcus spent 15 years trying to force his way into professional sports management. He networked relentlessly, took unpaid internships, did everything right. He was talented, connected, hungry, but he couldn't get his foot in the door. Then he started volunteering at a youth center in his neighborhood, coaching kids in basketball just because he loved it. He wasn't networking, he wasn't trying to build his resume, he was simply doing what felt right. Within a year, that volunteer work led to a formal position, then a grant to expand the program, then partnership with a major nonprofit. Suddenly, the doors that had been locked were swinging open, not through his effort to force them, but through the natural momentum of something that was meant to unfold. When you're on the wrong path, you're constantly pushing, manipulating, networking, strategizing. The effort required is exhausting, and even success feels like you're moving against friction. But when you're aligned with something larger, opportunities appear, connections happen, resources materialize. It's not magical, it's the difference between swimming with the current and against it. 3. You're becoming more like yourself, not less. The corporate world had required Sarah to become someone else. She had to learn to value competitiveness over collaboration, individual achievement over communal good, quarterly gains over long-term impact. None of these things were wrong, but they weren't her. Each achievement required that she suppress something essential. When she started teaching, something unexpected happened. The skills that had seemed valuable in the corner office, the ability to persuade, to strategize, to see the bigger picture, suddenly served a different master. She was using all her abilities, but in service of something that actually moved her. She wasn't becoming less ambitious. She was becoming more authentically ambitious about something that mattered to her. Real divine guidance doesn't ask you to become smaller or less capable. It redirects your entire toolkit towards something that aligns with who you actually are at your core. You start noticing that the gifts you developed for one path are suddenly serving another. It's not wasteful. It's like discovering that the skills you learned aren't lost. They're just being used for something that actually fits. 4. The confirmation comes from multiple places. Sarah didn't hear a voice from heaven. Instead, she noticed something stranger. The same insight kept arriving through different doors. A random conversation with a stranger at a coffee shop would reflect something she'd been thinking about. A book she picked up would have passages that spoke directly to her dilemma. A conversation with her sister would circle back to the same theme. It wasn't one dramatic sign. It was an uncanny pattern of quiet affirmations from completely separate sources, all pointing in the same direction. When you're on your own path, pursuing your own ambitions, you get one kind of confirmation: success metrics. You close a deal, you hit a target, you see the numbers go up. But when you're on God's path, the confirmation is different. It comes as unexpected resonance, synchronicity, as if the universe itself is whispering, "Yes, this way." It's not about blind faith. It's about noticing that when you align with something true, reality itself seems to confirm it from multiple angles. 6. Your relationships actually deepen. Sarah noticed she was showing up differently in her friendships. Without the exhaustion of a 70-hour work week, she had space for people. But more than that, without the constant need to prove herself, she had space to be vulnerable. She'd had a lot of acquaintances in her old life, important contacts, people she could call for favors. But real friendship, the kind where you let someone see you struggling, failing, doubting, that had been scarce. As her work shifted, something unexpected happened. Her relationships got smaller but stronger. She wasn't collecting connections anymore. She was actually connecting. The people in her life could sense the difference. There was less performance, more presence. Self-directed ambition, even when successful, tends to isolate. You're in competition with others for the same limited resources. You're performing a version of yourself designed to impress or advance. But alignment with something transcendent has a strange effect. It frees you to actually love the people around you, not as stepping stones, but as fellow humans. 7. You develop a conviction beyond reason. By year 2 of her new work, Sarah had turned down another corporate offer. This one was even more lucrative. Her old firm wanted her back, willing to meet her halfway on schedule and salary. The rational choice seemed clear, but something in her had shifted. She had a knowing that was beyond logic, beyond benefit-cost analysis. It wasn't that the old path was objectively bad. It was that it wasn't hers anymore. She tasted something else, and no amount of money could convince her to go back. This conviction isn't stubbornness or naivete. It's the kind of certainty that comes from direct experience. You know because you've lived it. You've felt the difference. You can't unknow it. When you're pursuing your own ambitions, you're always calculating, is it still worth it? Could I do better elsewhere? But when you're aligned with something transcendent, the nature of the question changes. It's not about optimization anymore. It's about fidelity, about staying true to something you've discovered to be true. Sarah still works hard. She still has ambitions, big ones, but they're rooted in something beyond her own advancement, and that changes everything. The irony is that when you stop trying so hard to build your own empire, you often find you're more effective, more successful, more fulfilled. Not because you lowered your standards, but because your efforts are now in service of something that actually matters. That's how you know you found the difference between your path and God's. The question isn't whether God has a better plan than you.
Welcome back to my
It's
channel.
whether you're
If you enjoyed the
curious
content,
enough to
hit that
find out
subscribe
what it
button.
might be.
Thanks for watching.